All right, wow, this is a really bad shot. Man, this kind of sucks. Hey, I think that works. Friends, family, intimate reading associates, welcome back to the channel. We are here today at the Great Barnes & Noble. My beloved wife, Ashlyn, is not here with me. She could not attend me on this book run, but we are here to shop. I have a day off. I actually have the next like 5 days off. So we are going to pick up some new reads. I don't really have anything in mind. I have a few authors that I want to look at, but I don't really have any books on the radar. The only one really is I've been anticipating Pierce Brown's Lightbringer. That is Red Rising number 6. So if that's here today, we will snag that sucker. If not, we'll come back next week because it should be out by then. But I thought I could bring you along. Thought I'd take you along with me and see how this goes. So let's go to Barnes, shall we? So I'm currently looking at a Louis L'Amour book. I'm looking at a series called The Sackets. This is actually a series my brother and my cousin really love, and they said that I would probably love it as well. It's kind of this historical fiction account of this fictional family called the Sackets, and you follow them throughout generations. They start in the 1500s with like a swashbuckling pirate-esque type of feel, and then you get into the American Revolutionary War, Civil War. You go through the Gold Rush, the Western, basically all that kind of stuff. But it sounds really good. And so I thought about maybe getting the first book, Sackets Land. Hello. So, I'm in the kids section. Don't ask me why. Actually, I'll tell you. It's the quietest place I could find. I came here on a Friday, which was a bad idea. A really bad idea. Because there's a million people here. And so trying to film and trying to talk to you as I go is really hard because nobody cares. They see a camera, they either think you're being weird or they think you're up to something. Which I'm not. I'm just here for fun. But this is the most quiet place of solitude I could find in the whole bloody store without walking out with all these books. So I'm going to tell you what I'm between, and then I may shop around a little bit more, but here we go. First off, we've got Sackets Land by Louis L'Amour. This is a historical fiction novel that starts I think like a 17-book series following a family called the Sackets. This is about a man named Barnabas. He finds some Roman coins buried in the mud in a place called Devil's Dyke. He invests in goods that he will offer for trade in America, but he has a powerful enemy, Rupert Gennister, nephew of an earl, who wants him dead. Ooh. A battlefield promise made to Sackett's father threatens Gennister's inheritance, so on the eve of his departure for America, Sackett is attacked and thrown into the hold of a pirate ship. Pirates. Lannister orders are for Sackett to disappear into the waters of the Atlantic, so they're going to throw him overboard. But after managing to escape, Sackett makes his way to the Carolina coast. He sees in the raw, abundant land the promise of a bright future. But before that dream can be realized, he must first return to England and discover the secret of his father's legacy. Sounds good. My brother and my cousin say these books rock. I guess Lou L'Amour writes in such a way that you finish a chapter and you just got to keep going because he's just that prolific of a writer. And I mean, his works speak for themselves. So this is impossible. Next is actually something I saw the movie a long time ago. I've known it's a book for a while, but I've never picked it up. But that is The Silence of the Lambs. Now, The Silence of the Lambs is fetching crazy because it's basically this detective. There's a serial killer going around snatching up young women, and there's gruesome murders involved with these abductions. And so to try and get into the mind of the criminal that she is pursuing, she has to basically have interviews with another prolific serial killer to get into the headspace and possibly get the motives of the person that she's tracking down. So she uses one serial killer to track down another serial killer, and it sounds incredible. And the movie was marvelous when I saw it years ago. So, Silence of the Lambs. Next is a fantasy, The Lies of Locke Lamora. I have been looking at this book for probably nigh on a year. An orphan's life is harsh. Comes on me all at once, out of nowhere. An orphan's life is harsh and often short in the mysterious island city of Camor. But young Locke Lamora dodges death and slavery, becoming a thief under the tutelage of a gifted con artist. As leader of the band of light-fingered brothers known as the Gentlemen Bastards, Locke is soon infamous, fooling even the underworld's most feared ruler. But in the shadows lurks someone still more ambitious and deadly. Faced with a bloody coup that threatens to destroy everyone and everything that holds meaning in his mercenary life, Locke vows to beat the enemy at his own brutal game or die trying. I've heard nothing but good things about Scott Lynch's writing, and Lies of Locke Lamora sounds up my alley. Next is a science fiction classic by Dan Simmons, Hyperion. It is a lot to go into what this book is about. I've heard incredible things. If you like Dune, if you like that classic science fiction feel, Hyperion is just an epic book and book series, and the first one won a Hugo Award. It's not every day you see that on a book. Next is actually a Pulitzer Prize winner. It's just fictional writing, general fiction by the late, great Cormac McCarthy, called The Road. I have seen plenty of booktuber who's read this just rant and rave about it. People love Cormac McCarthy. I've wanted to get into Cormac McCarthy for a while, and The Road seems up my alley. A father and his son walk alone through burned America. Nothing moves in the ravaged landscape save the ash on the wind. It is cold enough to crack stones, and when the snow falls, it is gray. The sky is dark. Their destination is the coast, although they don't know what, if anything, awaits them there. They have nothing, just a pistol to defend themselves against the lawless bands that stalk the road, the clothes they are wearing, a cart of scavenged food, and each other. The Road is the profoundly moving story of a journey. It boldly imagines a future in which the father and his son, each the other's world entire, are sustained by love. Awesome in the totality of its vision, The Road is an unflinching meditation on the worst and the best that we are capable of. Ultimate destructiveness, desperate tenacity, and the tenderness that keeps two people alive in the face of total devastation. Post-apocalyptic sounds freaking awesome. Next is another science fiction work. I was first introduced to this by my wife's uncle, Rusty, who said that Adrian Tchaikovsky is worth my time, and so has been recommended to me by not only him, but several of you in the comments, and I thought maybe picking this up. This is a huge piece of science fiction. The last remnants of the human race left a dying Earth, desperate to find a new home. Following their ancestors' star maps, they discovered the greatest treasure of the past age, a world terraformed and prepared for human life. But all is not right in this new Eden. The planet is not waiting for them, pristine and unoccupied. New masters have turned it from a refuge into mankind's worst nightmare. Now two civilizations are on a collision course and must fight to survive. As the fate of humanity hangs in the balance, who are the true heirs of this new Earth? This sounds freaking amazing. Plus, I've heard nothing but great things about Tchaikovsky's writing, not only as a science fiction writer, but as a fantasy writer. So I'd like to see where this goes. Next is a Larry Mcmurtry book called Dead Man's Walk. This is the first book in, I think, a tetralogy all about the American West. This one is the first book. I think the most famous book in the tetralogy is Lonesome Dove. I've actually seen the miniseries, it's quite good. And then there's another book in there, I think, called Comanche Moon, that is also as prolific. But listen to this. Dead Man's Walk is the first extraordinary book in the epic Lonesome Dove tetralogy in which Larry Mcmurtry breathed new life into the vanished American West and created two of the most memorable heroes in contemporary fiction, August McCrae and Woodrow Call. As young Texas Rangers, Gus and Call have much to learn about survival in a land fraught with perils, not only the blazing heat and raging tornadoes, roiling rivers, and merciless Indians, but also the deadly whims of soldiers. On their first expeditions, led by incompetent officers and accompanied by the robust and dauntless known as the Great Western, they will face death at the hands of the cunning Comanche war chief Buffalo Hump and the silent Apache Gomez. They will be astonished by the Mexican army, and Gus will meet the love of his life. That sounds incredible. That sounds so good. And I'm trying to branch out into other genres of fiction. And so this sounds freaking phenomenal. The only bad thing is Larry Mcmurtry books are really expensive because they're popular. So next is another Dan Simmons book, who wrote Hyperion. This is just a fiction work, I think, but it's called The Fifth Heart, and it's a Sherlock Holmes retelling. But hear this. It is 1893, and Sherlock Holmes and Henry James have come to America to solve the mystery of the 1885 suicide of Clover Adams, a member of the same Adams family that has given the United States 2 presidents. Holmes and James suspect foul play, and that it may involve matters of national importance. On his great hiatus after his death at Reichenbach Falls, Holmes explains that his powers of deduction have led him to a shocking conclusion that he, Sherlock Holmes, is a fictional character. This disturbs James with the question, if his fellow investigator is a work of fiction, what does that make him? Teeming with vividly drawn historical characters, The Fifth Heart is a fascinating and often amusing thriller with surprises at every turn. You're telling me we get Sherlock Holmes, but it's meta? Sherlock Holmes is so freaking smart he realizes that he's not real? What? That's cool. That's such a fascinating idea. I think this would be a really good read. Now, the last 3 books are all by Mr. Joe Abercrombie, and these are his first law standalones. First one we have is Best Served Cold. This is a classic revenge story. There have been 19 years of blood. The ruthless Grand Duke Orso is locked in a vicious struggle with the squabbling League of 8, and between them they have bled the land white. While armies march, heads roll, and cities burn, and behind the scenes, bankers, priests, and older, darker powers play a deadly game to choose who will be king. Politics is what Joe Abercrombie does best. War may be hell, but for Monza Mercado, the Snake of Talons, the most feared and famous mercenary in Duke Orso's employ, it's a damn good way of making money too. Her victories have made her popular, a shade too popular for her employer's taste. Betrayed, thrown down a mountain, and left for dead, Mercado's reward is a broken body and a burning hunger for vengeance. Whatever the cost, 7 men must die. Her allies include Styria's least reliable drunkard, Styria's most treacherous prisoner, a mass murderer obsessed with numbers, and a Northman who just wants to do the right thing. Her enemies number the better half of the nation, and that's all before the most dangerous man in the world is dispatched to hunt her down and finish the job Duke Orso started. Springtime in Styria. And that means revenge, dude. That's classic. That's classic. The next is Red Country. I've heard this is Abercrombie's take on like a Western, but it's Abercrombie. Shy South hoped to bury her bloody past and ride away smiling, but she'll have to sharpen up some bad old ways to get her family back, as she's not a woman to flinch from what needs doing. She sets off in pursuit with only a pair of oxen and her cowardly old stepfather Lamb for company, but it turns out Lamb's buried a bloody past of his own, and out in the lawless far country, the past never stays buried. Never. Not in Joe Abercrombie's world. Their journey will take them across the barren plains to a frontier town gripped by gold fever, through feud, duel, and massacre, high into the unmapped mountains to a reckoning with the ghosts. Even worse, it will force them into an alliance with Nicamo Casca, infamous soldier of fortune, and his feckless lawyer Temple, 2 men no one should ever have to trust. Nicamo Casca was one of the funniest and foulest characters in the First Law trilogy. He had so many amazing one-liners. He had me laughing when too many serious things were going on at once. All right, and the last book is the heroes. They say Black Dow is a character from that first trilogy. They say Black Dow's killed more men than Winter and clawed his way to the throne of the North up a hill of skulls. The King of the Union, ever a jealous neighbor, is not about to stand smiling by while he claws his way any higher. The orders have been given and the armies are toiling through the northern mud. Thousands of men are converging on a forgotten ring of stones on a worthless hill in an unimportant valley, and they brought a lot of sharpened metal with them. Epic. Just freaking mercilessly epic. So I would love to get all 3 of those, but I think, yeah, they're all like 20 bucks. Holy crap, it's hot in here. Let's get this AC on. Ooh, that burns like a dickens. All right, guys, I feel like I wasn't in there that long, but I feel like I was there for a while. I forget the number of books that I showed you, but I only walked away with 3. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? I walked away with only 3. It was really hard. I actually had to toss a coin, but the funny thing is I didn't have a coin on hand, so I had to go to Google and type in a coin tossing simulator, and it decided for me. So, first off, between the 3 Abercrombie books, let's start there, shall we? So this is this is the book that I actually had to coin toss for, because I wanted all 3. All 3 of them sound marvelous. They're all standalones, so you don't really need to read them in any particular order, but I'm a fiend for books, and so it's really hard for me not to want all 3 of something if I know they're all going to be good. But I decided, okay, I'm not going to get all 3, so let's narrow it down between the 2 that I really wanted. That was between Best Served Cold and Red Country, and so gosh, it was really, really hard, because I know in Best Served Cold, the way it makes it sound, I think there's a cameo for Logan Ninefingers, or the Bloody Nine himself. I really love that character from the first trilogy. Yeah, but that was also the most expensive book of the 3 Abercrombie books, which, you know, the difference between $17.99 and $19.99 really isn't all that much, but it's really hard for me to want to pay $20 for a paperback. So I had Google decide for me, and I said heads was Best Served Cold and tails was Red Country. And guess freaking what, guys? It gave me tails, so we bought Red Country. I'm excited. I am really excited because there's a cameo of another character from the first trilogy, Nikamo Casca. And Casca is freaking hilarious. He's so funny and disgusting and nasty. But Abercrombie writing in an Old West style. Now, it's not Western. There's not like shootouts and cowboys and all that stuff. But it's his fantasy world, but with Western elements. And so you have this lawless country. You know, there's no law and order. It sounds so Abercrombie. I'm so excited. The second one was The Road by Cormac McCarthy. I've been putting off Mr. McCarthy for far too long, and he actually recently just passed away this year, and so I thought, you know what, might as well give The Road a shot. The YouTuber that's really gotten me interested in this book the most is Man Carrying Thing. I watched him talk about I think just his top 10 books of all time, and The Road was on there. It's one of those books that he probably won't stop talking about. It was that impactful, and it sounds really, really cool, you know, just because of my fascination and love with the Dark Tower and its take on, you know, post-apocalyptic elements. I thought reading just a normal fiction where Stephen King's madness isn't involved. Can you call post-apocalyptic normal? I'm excited because Mr. McCarthy he's one of the giants of the modern literature game, and so let's see where we go with it, shall we? And the last one, man, this was really hard. It was between Life of Locke Lamora, Hyperion, and Dead Man's Walk, and I landed on Dead Man's Walk. The story sounds so compelling. I mean, there's love, there's violence, 2 of the most memorable heroes in contemporary fiction. I'm excited to meet this Augustus McCrae and Woodrow Call. I'm very, very excited. I mean, this sounds so good. I'm brimming with passion and page-turning excitement. It's good stuff. Say less to me, say less to me, say less to me. So that's what we got, guys. That's what we got. Some marvelous stuff. I probably should go back in there and take a thumbnail. I always fail to take a thumbnail. Ashlyn's always like, did you take a thumbnail? Did you take a thumbnail? Hey, you gonna take a thumbnail? She's so good at it. She's been doing it for so long, and I'm still so fresh at this YouTube thing. So guys, that was our first book shopping vlog / book haul. Not bad, huh? Guys, thank you so much for sticking around. This was fun. Trust me, there will be more like this. Ashlyn actually kind of motivated me to to get out here and do this. She wanted to come with me, but she's been detained with her own projects. So she's working on something really, really good, really fun. So honestly, go to her channel, Ashlyn Kaylee. She is phenomenal at this YouTube thing, and she's working on this amazing project that you all are gonna really, really enjoy. And she's been having a really fun time filming it, and it's been really awesome to see her go through this. So thank you all. Thank you all for sticking around. Thank you all for being here and showing so much love and support. This community is growing like a weed. It's so cool to see, and I cannot thank you enough for how much you guys have already changed my life and my wife's life. So thank you so much. I love you guys. See you in the next one.